What's up, fam? Welcome back to Cash Flow and Chill. If you've been thinking about starting a business but don't know where to start, this episode is for you. I'm going to be walking you step by step through how to start your business the right way, from picking the name to registering your LLC, getting your EIN, choosing the right codes, and setting up your systems. It's way easier than people make it sound, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. I'm your host, Matthew Munson, joined by my co-host, MJ Orozco. What's up, MJ?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, fam. As a reminder, we're here to, help you learn, grow, and just get inspired. Our whole mission here is to build wealth and cash flow and chill.
How's your week been?
Good. What is today? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Cruising right along.
Cruising along. I got to do a few business things, and then I'm off to get a passport today for Fernando's graduating 8th grade in 2 weeks. So we're going to take a trip.
Man, they're growing up fast.
I know. Both of your boys, well, Mason will be going into high school, right? And then
Yep.
Mark's already there.
Yeah, he'll be a senior this upcoming season.
Oh my gosh. I still remember them in like the football gear, like 5, 6, 7 years old, and nervous what was going to happen to him out there.
Oh yeah, like, man, they're too tiny.
Yeah. How's your week been going? Good?
Week's been going good. Business is just exploding and taking off. So I couldn't be more blessed and grateful.
Yeah. And as a reminder, listeners, Mun has a few different businesses, but I think a big one that'll help, especially that kind of goes alongside this episode, is he has a consulting business. Again, I'm going to shout him out. Mun helps me a lot in my business, helps me put out fires, helps me put systems, processes. If I'm kind of overwhelmed, I give him a call and he helps me walk through. So not only will this episode be good for you if you're starting a business or wanting to start one or your business is in flames, Mun has a consulting business and he's great at what he does. He invests a lot of time into himself, learns a lot, and really valuable. How do people get in contact for you for that?
Yes, it's a very easy process to get a hold of me. Just get through my DMs. We will have to go through some qualification just to see if we're both a good fit. Because I only want to work with people that are serious, ready to grow, ready to take action. So I'm not just accepting everybody, but those that are serious, those that want to change, those that want to grow and scale. I'll definitely be more than happy to help you guys. So just feel free to reach out or just drop a comment here below the video and we'd be more than happy to get a hold of you.
Yeah, awesome. Highly recommend, guys. And he is serious about when he tells you something, you got to take action, you got to do it or it'll be over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I remember calling you when I wanted to start the first business about how to get my LLC, how to get my EIN, how to pick a name. And I think if I remember correctly, I was going to pick a name and I forget how you helped me in that aspect, but I don't quite remember. But you've been there since the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you bring that up because I was just thinking when you said that, I was like, wow, like it seems like just yesterday we did that, but it's been a couple years now, and to see how your business has changed and how it's grown, it's crazy. So I'm
Yeah. Yes. 3 years. January was 3 years. And it is crazy the difference in, kind of where we started to where we are now and revenue. And, now we have a whole staff, like 10 staff members. I remember it was me getting off work at FedEx and going to do it at the end of the night by myself. So, yeah.
You don't miss those days, do you?
No, I heard they're shutting down.
Really?
I heard FedEx Express is shutting down and it's like, wow.
That was crazy.
Because everyone always told me, don't quit that job, keep that job. You can retire from there. No, I'd rather rely on me. If I shut down, it's my own doing. If I lose money, it's my own doing, not having it to be on someone else's shoulders.
And I bet the people that gave you that advice were W-2 employees.
Yeah. All of them.
Oh, yeah. And we don't mean to knock W-2 employees, but we're never trying to do that. If that's your lane, we totally support it. Everybody has their own little lane that they should be in.
Yes.
and want to be in. We just joke because there's a lot of people that's been in and out of our lives that have been in like a W-2 or a 9-to-5 kind of position trying to give us business advice. So it's just like,
Yeah.
Sometimes not always the best advice, but I
They mean
appreciate
well.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think it's important to also touch on that is you W-2 employees, you guys do put a huge role into what we do. And the difference is just sometimes mindset. And, most entrepreneurs, for me, we don't listen very well. We don't follow rules. We kind of just want to do what we want to do. And I live better that way. Or some people live better with a little more structure and, being told where to be and told what to do, but you guys are very important. W-2 workers are also very important. We kind of just make a joke of it. Everyone means well, but we always say, don't take advice from someone that hasn't done what you're doing.
Right. Or is not in the position that you want to be. So if you're
Yeah.
taking business advice from someone that's still working a job and doesn't have a business, if your mom or your dad or your uncle, if they don't own businesses, do not take business advice from them. Because if they knew what to do, they'd be doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Take mom advice from them, maybe. Dad advice from them, maybe. Just depends on your parents.
right.
But
Definitely got to
yeah.
be a good character.
Yes. So we're going to keep this one pretty simple and straightforward for you guys. This is like the first start of, even having a business. Like where do you start? This is exactly where you start. And Mun's going to kind of go through some steps here. And then I'll kind of chime in as we go.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, just like MJ said, we're going to go over everything, how to start a business, where to start, show you how easy it is, because there's a lot of, there's a lot of people out there that are, trying to really make this seem very difficult. And I was just very confused at why they're doing that. But it's super simple. We're going to walk you right through it and give you some actionable steps that you can take right away. If you take these steps, within the next week, you can be an operating business. So doesn't take a long time, doesn't take a lot of money. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and kick it off. And feel free, if anything that we talk about today, if you have any questions about it, please drop in the comments. We will respond. We will reach out. We will try to help you guys. It's very easy. Without further ado, here we're going to go. So how I'm going to first start this off is, your business name is your first impression, right, to everybody. So you want something that's going to be like easy to remember, but sounds professional, but also leaves you room to grow. For example, say if you plan to offer more than one service later on, don't just name it Joe's Fence Staining or something like that. Go with something maybe a little bit more broad, like maybe Summit Property Solutions or Map Quality Services, um, just leaving it in range so that you guys can grow and offer additional services. With that being said, I also want to bring up you just need to pick a name that hasn't been chosen before. So again, pick something unique and professional, but also something that hasn't been done before. And that's going to bring me into our next point is checking the availability of the name that you choose. So once you come up with this great idea, or maybe got a handful of ideas that you're going to go with, then you're going to need to jump onto Google and type it in. But essentially, you're going to be going to ilsos.gov. It's the Illinois Secretary of State's website. If you're in a different state, obviously it'd be different, but you're going to the Secretary of State website. All right. And then you're going to put business entity search. So if you're doing this on Google, all you got to do is search Secretary of State business search, and then click the link that ends in .gov. Anything else, they may be trying to sell you guys something. So just keep that in mind.
Sorry, Mun, to touch on that really quick. When you guys do that Google search, I didn't know this until I got into business. If it says sponsored, it is an advertisement and they will charge you more. You want to scroll past all those sponsors and look for the one that doesn't say that. And then another thing to touch on that, I know when you're setting up the LLC, when you pick the name, it'll actually populate for you if there's other names out there like that. So it might be a little easier. You can do it one or two ways, but it'll actually, while you're in that process of typing it in and hitting next, it'll search for you.
Yep. Yeah, so that's a good point. When you come on the website, there's going to be a little search engine, and it's going to say search for business entity, right? And then, it's going to say choose a search method. You're going to click business name, and then just type in the search bar exactly what you want to name it. Okay. And see if it's available. Just type in the name. You don't have to write LLC because it'll pop up if there's anything. If it says no results found, then you should be good, which would lead you right into the next step is you're going to be creating an LLC. So for the LLC, you can do this two ways. There's some third-party sites that you can go to, like Busy is a cheap and easy one. You can also do it free right on the Secretary of State. No matter what, you are going to have to pay your state's filing fee. Okay, so here in Illinois, $155. And then you can expedite it and stuff like that. So there's some other fees. And when you're picking this name, I want you to keep in mind something very important. And this is the part that really nobody talks about, but it's super simple. Okay. But when you start your business, you're going to have to pick an NAICS code. Okay. What this does is it tells the government what type of business you have, right? So if you're a cleaner, you're a contractor, you're a coach, you're a marketer, there's codes for all of that, right? But here's the key. So some codes are seen as low risk, right? Like business consulting, cleaning services, marketing agencies, stuff like that, right? And others are considered high risk, like credit repair, financial services, real estate, construction. And all that can affect your chances of getting funded or insurance later on. So it's very important to pick the right code in the beginning. And if you want to go see what codes that you would be filing for, you can go to NAICS.com /search, and then just type in what your business does, and it'll show you the list of codes. Just pick a code that's broad and safe. All right. So make sure your business name matches the vibe of the code you pick. All right. Don't name your company Elite Roofing LLC and then your code is consulting, right? So we want to make sure it's aligning, because once you go to access funding, if you're around multiple years, business funding is something that you're going to want to utilize, and especially if you're in the beginning stage and you need some startup capital, this is going to be huge, right? We want everything to line up word for word, industry for industry. We want it to all match up and everything to be on the same exact page, right? So keep it clean, keep it flexible, and makes everything a lot more smoother later. So again, you're going to be generating that LLC. All you really need is your name, your business name, okay? A business address. It doesn't need to be, a brick and mortar location. You can get a virtual address. You're gonna need that code as well that we talked about. And then once it's done, you're gonna get what's called articles of organization, okay? And that just means that now your LLC is formally organized. Usually this takes a couple days, couple weeks if you don't opt for the expedition of it. So very easy process. You're just filling out the information right there on the Secretary of State's website, or if you go on Busy or any other third-party company. If you do go on Busy, they try to upsell you a whole bunch of things. You don't need to get any of that other stuff on there. Just get organized. But like I said, you can also do it right there on the Secretary of State. You got anything else to add before we move on there, MJ?
No, I was just going to touch on like how we did our LLC. And
Okay.
then we just, like Mom was saying, it doesn't need to be anything crazy, anything, wild. I picked a pretty basic one because I kind of had a feeling my business was going to kind of change our services and kind of what we did. And I was right. We went from a non-slip business to a full-blown cleaning janitorial. So our LLC is totally different. And then we have a DBA. So again, that doesn't have to be so specific. That's just like the first step. But like Mun was saying, you want to make it kind of broad. That way, if you want to add services or whatnot.
And I think you brought up a great point about doing the DBA. So in case anybody's confused, you can start an LLC and then you can do business as another company. So you can be, your LLC name could be Mary Jean Solutions, right? And then you could do business as Mary Jean's Cleaning Company or that. So I think you brought up a great point. I actually do that as well.
Yep.
Because I have Map Quality Construction, but we do business as Map Quality Fencing and Decks. So same exact LLC. The DBA just allows you to operate and market your business with that additional name, but it doesn't harm you like tax-wise or anything like that.
No, and you guys can also do that on the same exact website. The Secretary of State has a whole area for business services. The other thing is when you're on the Secretary of State and you're doing the LLC, is it asks like, I wish to form a standard limited liability company, which does not have the ability to establish series. And then the other question is, I wish to form a liability company with the ability to establish series. I have always selected the standard where it doesn't have the ability, because I think you also taught me that you don't want all your businesses under one LLC, because then if something goes bad, they can,
Yeah.
get the top dog. So it's always the standard limited liability company. So just wanted to touch on that really quick.
Yeah. So if you're using the Secretary of State website, the questions are going to be a little bit different than if you're using a third party. So some of those third parties, they kind of dumb down some of the legal jargon to make it a little bit more user friendly. But yeah, that's a great point, because some people could definitely get confused. Thanks for bringing that up. All right. And moving right along. So once you have the articles of organization, they're going to say, hey, congratulations, your LLC has been formed. Here's your articles of organization. So you're going to screenshot that and you're going to also download it, right? Because you're going to need this information. I always recommend putting it in a Google Drive folder. Get you a Gmail, set up the email account. Now you can create a Google Drive folder, and now you can put like important documents, and then that's where you're going to put, your articles of organization, just so it can be easily found. Once you need it for a couple of the next steps. So then,
I know you gave I know you gave me the tip to email it to myself. I don't know if you just said that, but I have it emailed to myself, all my emails. I have it in a folder right here on my desk with all my other ones printed out because you'll need it for the bank account. And then I have it saved and downloaded to my computer and my phone. So,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yep. Yeah. So another good hack, you can email it right to yourself and put in the subject line LC or articles of organization, just so if you ever needed to find it again, you can just go to the search bar in your Google Mail and then just type in LLC and bam, it'll pop right up. Or you can star it, so there's a bunch of different ways you can kind of save that. So, but just make sure you save it because you're definitely going to need that information moving forward.
Yeah.
All right. And then once you got that back, right, we're going to go get our EIN number. Okay. And for everybody that does not know what an EIN number, EIN is just your business's social security number. That's what ties everything to you, right? So essentially, you're creating another person. And that's how the lending institutions and everything is going to look at this person, right? And how you get that is you just head over to irs.gov, or you can just Google IRS EIN number and then just apply for it. So once you get to that website, you're going to scroll down and it's going to say get an EIN. Okay. And then there's going to be like a little blue tab thing and it's going to say apply for EIN. You're just going to click on that. And you're going to answer a couple questions. It literally takes a couple of minutes, like maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and then they'll generate it right there. It's 100% free. And another thing, they don't resend those. So there's two ways you can have it sent. You can have it emailed to you, or you can have it sent by mail. Okay. So obviously mail takes a little bit longer, but you can opt for that. I always go for the digital one. I screenshot it. And then again, I push the download on it. So I can download it to my files, upload it to my Google Drive, send it to myself, subject line EIN. Again, this is just little simple tips to help you guys. We're giving you some like advanced tips just to make sure that you guys are all squared away and good to go. And allow you to forego all the mistakes that we made when we first got started.
Exactly.
And now that you got your LLC docs and you got your EIN, now you can go open up a business bank account. So you can get an online business bank account. You can go in person, whatever you want. I always recommend if you're going to be doing like any kind of like real estate or anything like that, where there's going to be a lot of wire transfers, maybe get an online one because it really doesn't matter brick and mortar wise. And if you're going to be getting something like a local business that's in your area, I would always recommend getting a bank that's in your area. And now you can build that relationship with that bank. And then all you're going to need to get your business bank account is going to be those articles of organization that we talked about with the LLC. You're going to need your EIN number. You can, and then you're just going to need the minimum deposit. So I recommend to get some savings accounts. So you're going to get your business checking. All the checks get deposited into your business checking. Now you got another savings account and that's going to be for taxes. You got another savings account that's going to be for profit. You got another savings account that's going to be for owner's pay. You got another savings account and that's going to be for materials and cost of goods, right? And the reason you're going to separate all these little accounts is because what a lot of entrepreneurs do is they have this big lump sum in this account and then they think they have a whole bunch of extra money. But we want to divert that and make sure we're getting it to all those other little savings accounts. So when we look at our checking balance, it's a better reflection of how our business is doing, right? And how much money we actually got to play with if we needed to reinvest in equipment or hire another employee or anything like that. We want to know what our business is doing, what it looks like, what we have to spend, and what we don't, right? And it also gives you ability to save, right? Especially for taxes, because taxes will creep up. If you are a new business, you're going to want to make sure that you're very adamant about saving for taxes. If you're coming from a W-2 setting or a 9 to 5, the taxes are taken out for you. When you're a business owner, they are never taken out for you. You have to take them out and you have to send them in. If you get a good accountant, they'll do it all for you, which is what I prefer to do. Definitely hire an accountant. If you don't want to hire an accountant in your small business, you can definitely get QuickBooks, which is one of the systems you can get. It can help organize all your transactions. You could send invoices and receipts and do estimates right through there. So if you're just getting started, you need something real cheap, I think it's $60 or $70 or something for an online QuickBooks. Just getting started. You could probably get a cheaper one, but it probably just limits the stuff that you can do on it.
I would say I still use the one for $39.99
No.
for the Airbnb and the cleaning business. I keep telling myself every day it's probably time to get an accountant, but I don't think it's been as difficult yet. Maybe when it gets a little more difficult, I'll want to. But and I just mailed off my taxes, my tax bill. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely recommend, especially if you have it allocated in the budget, to get an accountant right away, even before you need it, because they're really going to save your butt. Like there's a couple people that you really want on your side and is part of your like your core four, and it's going to be your accountant, your banker, so we can get funding, and your lawyer. So as long as you got those three people, those are three people that you're not going to have on the payroll necessarily, but you are going to want to build a solid relationship with those people. It's not something you have to get right away, but it's definitely something that you want to set up those relationships and start building those relationships really early in your journey, because you just never know when something bad can happen.
I agree. I had an issue with some things and I was able to call, a lawyer. I know a few of them and I have them in my back pocket and they told me exactly what to do, this, and that. All good. So yeah, that's very good advice there to have that in your back pocket.
Absolutely. Definitely better to be over prepared than under, that's for sure. There's this weird connotation that all entrepreneurs, all business owners are just millionaires. I remember like my second year in business, we were talking to the crew and they thought we just had millions and millions in the bank. And I was like, what? I was like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, that takes years to build. And I used to, when I was younger, I would think business owners were rich. I've gone through phases where I'm like, how are we going to pay payroll? You know what I mean? Like that happens. Like when you're growing and the money's coming in a little slower during those growing pains, it's good. We've had that conversation, but yeah, you definitely, people think you just got it like that. So,
Yeah, big misconception. And some people do, but for the most part, there's so many unforeseen circumstances and expenses that businesses have to pay and be responsible for that nobody really knows about unless you're in it.
I was just looking at some of my stuff and I'm like, dude, I said adjusted. I was like, dude, do you realize we pay 700 a month for insurance? Now, granted, that's work comp, that's liability, and that's an umbrella, but like $700 for insurance. Like people don't think about that. Our CRM is $400 a month. You know what I mean? Like there's these little expenses that, people don't really think about when it comes to business. They think it all goes into your pocket. The only time you'll hear people say are other business owners when you talk about money, they're like, "Yeah, but after expenses, what is it?" Only entrepreneurs or business owners ask that question after.
Right. Exactly. They don't know
Yeah.
what that net profit is.
Yeah. Give a damn how much the job was. What'd you make?
Yeah. And then after all expenses, materials and the cost of doing the job, the employees, the payroll, the taxes, there's so many expenses that go into it, especially when you're doing business legit. So it's just a cost of doing business. You just got to charge it to the game and just keep making more money so that expense doesn't weigh you down.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And then after you got your business bank account, you're going to want to set up your systems. So you're going to want a domain for your website. We're going to want to get a website. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but we just want to at least own the domain. If you don't have a website already, don't worry. It's not something you need to get immediately, but it is something that once you start making some money, you got a little bit of profit. It's going to be something you want to invest in just for credibility, and we can drive lead traffic and stuff too. Another thing is you're going to want to set up your email so you can get Gmail. They got business Gmails and all that cool stuff. If you're looking to get a website made and you don't know where to go, you can go to like GoDaddy, you can go to Wix, which is Wix. Squarespace is another one that does them. Want a new Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, all the little platforms. Start as small as you need to just to get going. But I would definitely recommend it in the very beginning, at least get a Facebook so that you can have your friends and family tag you and stuff like that and share your posts. You can jump into community groups and promote your new business and promote any kind of specials or anything you got going on. And then just like MJ said, a CRM, customer relations manager, is something that's huge in business. It's really where you're able to track everything, store all your clients' information so that you can reach back out to them, so you can do follow-up, so you can send out quotes. Depending on what line of business you're in, definitely recommend getting one of these ASAP. It is going to be a monthly cost or billed yearly, but it is something that's definitely going to help you out and definitely systematize your business. If you're just doing it on pen and paper, trying to remember, operating out of a Google Calendar, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, because sometimes I even think with the CRM, there's still error, right? We're human, and I hate that bill every month. I'm like, ugh, $400. But then I'm like, dude, this makes my life. We tried another one for $100 a month. I didn't like it. It was just, I will pay for more high tech and more simplicity. And it's just easier. It makes my life 10 times easier. So it is worth it. Although I still look every so often for a different one. I haven't left though. I'm still using House Call Pro for what, 2.5 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's a good platform. What I would recommend is using Chat GPT as much as you can to aggravate thought, to try to help guide you, and just make sure that you're understanding how to prompt it. So if you're just getting started and you don't know where to go or who your ideal client may be or who you should market to, just jump on Chat GPT and just ask them. Tell them exactly what kind of business you are. Tell them what your goal is. So I wouldn't just copy paste the stuff, but at least it gives you a reference of exactly where to start and what direction to go into. If you're not up on AI, you better get it, because pretty soon you're going to be way too far behind as they continue to advance and all these companies compete to be the best one out.
There's another platform. I just did their 7-day free trial or however long it was. It's called Blaze AI. That was the bomb. I mean, all I had to do was put either a video and a picture, describe what I wanted, put a few things in there. 30 seconds. Facebook post, Instagram post, TikTok video. Like it's awesome. And I think it was like $341 a year. Like that's nothing. They don't let you do monthly. Well, I think they do, but it's more expensive. But $300 for that to be at your fingertips.
Wow.
I think they say that at like right now is going to take over like a lot of like, all the other like Kavana and Chat GPT, because it's all in like one. Yep. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but
oh yeah, the Blaze social media marketing.
Yeah, super cool.
There's a lot of AI and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been hearing great things about it.
I liked it. Yes. I was actually thinking of hiring a social media person to even just deal with all of that too. You have that as well, don't you?
Yeah, so we have an SEO manager that manages all that stuff for us. SEO is just search engine optimization. So it's getting, your Google listing, as high up as possible, preferably to number one. And some marketing companies deal with just strictly SEO on website or building funnels, or, they can run your socials as well. So we got an all-in service that we do. It's about $4,500 a month. So it's a little bit of investment, but again, if you want to go the cheaper option, Mary Jean just gave you a perfectly good one for $300 a year. I mean, usually that's your social media person at least a month.
A week.
Right. Especially if you got a good one.
Yeah. I had an average one and I think I paid $300 a week. Not for long. I'm like, you're out of here.
Right. And the key here is not focusing on perfection. Focus on progress. Just take one little step and keep going. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it set up like me and MJ got our businesses. Just get the first couple steps. Come up with the name, get the LLC, get the EIN, get your bank account number, get you a business phone number. We want to look like a professional business, and that's what's going to help get us some of the funding later on. Right? So that's why we're giving you all these tips and tricks. They may be a little bit more advanced for a beginner, but at the end of the day, we want you to set it up right now so you don't have to go amend it later on. And then another thing that's very, very important is to set up your Google business profile, okay? So you're just gonna go on Google with your new Gmail address. So say if it's MJ's Cleaning Solutions, okay? You're gonna go create a MJ's Cleaning Solutions at gmail.com, right? Once you have that Gmail, you can create a business profile on there, the Google My Business profile. So if you've ever went and searched for a restaurant or anything like that and their name popped up on Google, had their address, reviews and all that stuff, that's a Google My Business profile. You're going to want to start those right away, and then you're going to want to start getting some reviews. If you have a small service, like maybe you're cleaning windows or cleaning houses or something, a great idea is to do your first couple, like for your family or something, for free. Just say, you have to leave me a review and a testimonial, a video testimonial. Now that's going to build credibility for your business. It's going to allow you to demonstrate exactly what you do, and how you do it. So getting that Google business page is huge, because when people want to go buy things, they go on Google, right? So those are the key things that kind of keep in mind, is making sure that you're getting that Google My Business profile set up. If you don't have a physical address for your business, you can get a virtual business address. There's a whole bunch of virtual business addresses out there that you can use. There's sites like iPostal One, Virtual Postmail, Anytime Mailbox. It just makes your business look a little bit more legit, and it protects your privacy. And again, a business phone, you don't have to go buy a brand new cell phone if you don't have the money, but you are going to want to use something like Google Voice or Open Phone or Grasshopper. This way you can use it for your LLC paperwork, your bank setup and all that, and your Google business profiles. Your business and your personal life are now completely separate. There's a couple of different ways you could structure it. You can either be paid from your business in like a W-2 format, right? Be an employee of the business, or you can just take what's called an ownership draw. And that's just going to be in a set amount that you choose based off of how your LLC is set up and your distributions. And you can just pull that out. So say if you need to spend $500 this week on your bills, right? Maybe you need to pay your power bill or something. It's $500. So you go, you get a draw of $500 from your business, and then you pay it with that. You don't use your business card. So there's a big misconception. You can use the money that's in the business to pay for stuff. You just can't use the business card. You just have to take that in the format of a draw and then use the money that you just pulled out on that draw to go pay for those. So I hope that makes sense. It's a huge red flag if you guys start commingling funds. Big red flag for the IRS as well as any kind of lending institution. So if you've been 3 years good and then you do it one time, bam, you just erased all that good history. They deem that as very irresponsible. So please make sure that you guys are keeping everything separate.
Yes, I remember you teaching me that early on.
A lot of owners learn the hard way. Just a little bonus tip for anybody that's still watching. As soon as you get your business, apply for a business credit card. And the reason why I'm going to tell you this is because I missed out on thousands and thousands of rebates because I didn't have a business credit card. I only had my business debit card. When you use your debit card, you don't get rewarded. There's no points. There's no free trips. There's no free flights out of that. We can't earn anything from our business checking account. But if you just buy it with your business credit card and then immediately pay it off with your business debit card, now you're building business credit and you're accumulating points. This is the way I've been able to travel hack and be able to travel for free rental cars, free hotels, free flights, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I listened to Dave Ramsey on some things, not all of them, because I think he speaks to the middle class. I heard him say not to do that. But the reason why he says not to do it is because people won't pay it off. And I've made that mistake, guys. And if you think about it, if you're not going to pay it off, you're going to pay so much in interest that those free flights aren't worth it. So take my advice. Trust me. Pay it off. Like exactly what Mun said. Buy it with that. Pay it right off. I do it with my gas now because I have a card I have a lot of cards now completely paid off. And I buy my gas. Anything that we need for the business gets used. And then the next day, I don't wait a week. I don't wait a month. Nothing. I pay it off the next day. Maybe I'm supposed to wait a little longer. Maybe I'm scarred from my bad choices before. So we're paying it off right away. But yeah, I've taken a lot of free trips that way or free flights.
Yep. Just make sure that you're paying it off before the statement date, not the due date. There's a big difference. So all you got to do on the business side is make sure you're making those payments. Hopefully we didn't confuse anybody, but we just want to give you guys the game. I missed out on thousands of dollars of travel and all that stuff. So I want to give you guys that game up front.
Yes, I think this is all good for newbies. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to drop it in the comments. To get started, it's a lot simpler than people think. I know it was a lot simpler than I thought it was. When 3 years ago, I was a little confused. So luckily I had people in my life. I had Matt, and I had a few other people to help me and walk me through it. But, not everyone has that privilege or has that network of people to kind of help. So that's kind of what we're here for. So I hope you guys learned something from this. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on, Matt?
Just a disclaimer, this is not legal advice.
Right.
We are giving you guys advice to really kind of help you guys. But obviously, if you're scared, if you're nervous, consult with an attorney. It does cost you money, but obviously you'll be starting that Core 4 network in there as well. But this stuff is easy. We just wanted to show you guys how easy, how simplistic it is to get started and really get into business, but what we want to do is say, hey, listen, you can get started. It's a lot easier, a lot simpler than you thought. And if you need help, there is resources out there. There are people that are trying to help you guys. So again, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, please drop them in the comments. We'll make content and we'll make videos addressing these and helping you guys out so that you guys can be set up for success and hopefully be in business for many, many years.
Yes. We're excited to watch you guys grow and, eventually cash flow and chill. But I am off to go get a passport. I am super excited. I've never had one. So that's
awesome.
all.
We'll enjoy the process and hope you get to use the crap out of that thing.
Yes, I have some free trips. We'll go into that little hack later if it's not legally going to get me in trouble. But I have two free trips I can take. So one will be out of the country, one will be in the States. So plus the cruise. Yeah. But all right.
Yeah.
You gonna end it?
Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. Go ahead.
All right. Well, That wraps up today's episode of Cash Flow and Chill. I hope you guys got some value from this. I really hope that you guys were able to learn something that you didn't know. Again, if you need any help, reach out to me or MJ. Drop something in the comments. Share this with somebody that may be scared or may be hesitant about starting their LLC so they can see just how easy it is. And until next time, fam, hope you guys have a great and wonderful week. Keep generating cash flow.